look, like follow your dreams, you know, do what you're passionate about and just have full self-belief in yourself. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have a lot of bumps in the roads, but that's how you learn, like you learn through making mistakes, and every mistake just makes you better.
So how did you go from content creation to like corporate sales?
That's a great that's actually a great question. So I was actually doing corporate sales and content creation together. So basically, to support my music career, that's why I had many different corporate positions. So my first ever job was at Nando's when I was 18 years old. I met a guy there actually. He was a university lecturer, and he said, "Look, like no offense, but you're better than cleaning tables. Like just the way that you are and how you communicate with your customers and just your energy." He's like, you would suit a sales role. So he asked me if I read a book, right? The book is called Think and Grow Rich. So I said, I've never read the book before. It's by an author called Napoleon Hill. So
Napoleon
he said
Hill.
that, yeah, you know him.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
said, look, so then he said, look, like you can either buy it yourself or I could buy it for you. I said, it's fine. I'll buy it myself. I read this book. It completely changed my life. He then helped me adapt my CV and find a position in sales. So my very first sales role, I was an energy broker working in central London, saving people money on their gas and electric utilities. So it was very similar to USwitch. And then I kind of like, worked my way up from there into different positions. Yeah, ended up working for a Fortune 500 global company at the end, 22nd floor, Broadgate Tower, in Liverpool Street. So, amazing views, super corporate. Yeah, so I've had many different positions. What I also did like is just working for different startups, like working for companies that are quite small, and you have like the owner, the CEO in the room, and you're kind of just working alongside them, because you're kind of seeing their small vision come to life.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave me gratitude for my own brand, and for my own company. It's because, I can kind of relate to them because I've worked for many different companies that started out like how I'm starting out now, right? So yeah, that's basically like my story, and hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah. That's so amazing. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur myself. And,
Yeah, that's
I was
amazing.
wondering, do you think it's important to like get some like corporate work experience, like a job first before going out and starting your own company rather than just like starting your own company at 18 years old or 16? Yeah.
That's a super great question. I would say yes, it's very important. Like if you can get into any position, the positions that I would recommend is sales and marketing,
Mm.
particularly sales, right? If you can learn sales, you can master everything. And I'll tell you why. Because everything that you see around you has been sold. From the software that you're using now to the laptop that you're using to, even the carpet that you're walking on. It's all been sold, right? Everything is sales, right? So that's why I would say the number one most important skill for every entrepreneur and for every young person and just people in general to learn is sales, because we are constantly selling anyway.
Mm.
Even if we're talking to friends and family, if we're convincing somebody to go to the cinema with us, we're selling. If we're convincing somebody to go on a date with us, we're also selling, right? So we're constantly selling and being sold to. So that's why I would say the number one skill to learn is sales. The second skill is marketing. If you can learn sales and then marketing, you're unstoppable because then you can market yourself. So the way that I look at it is marketing is like, you know, throwing out the fishing rod into the sea. Sales is you now catching that fish and making something out of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically how I explain sales and marketing.
That's amazing. So I've been looking at like many sales jobs in like banking and finance firms
Yeah,
and
that's great.
investments. But
Yeah,
the thing is, with the sales jobs, it's like, okay, 9 to 5, you're working alongside the trader, but then after 5, you have to like go out to dinner with clients, which it may be
yeah.
until 11 p.m. And so like all your time is gone. And then when do you have time for the content creation? How are you able to balance your own entrepreneurship ventures?
Like that again is a great question. So for me, that's actually something that I struggled with, right? And that's why I took the full leap of faith because I believe if you're working somewhere else full time, you can only apply yourself like 50% to what it is that you are building, like your business or whatever, right? So in order to kind of give something your all, you have to give it your all, right? So you can't kind of have your attention here like half of the time, but then your attention here half of the time. Like it's just not gonna work. You're constantly juggling. So during after work hours, that's when I would work on my content, and then on the weekends essentially.